Hello everyone, my name is Nataraj and I'm a faculty for UPSC Civil Service Preparation. With prelims around the corner with around 40 days or so, let's talk about some simple yet effective strategies that can help you increase your odds of clearing this exam. Especially those kind of strategies that many even good students tend to overlook as well. This is actually part of our prelims mentorship sessions meant for the students who have enrolled in our personal mentorship program. However, we've opened this up for the rest of you as well. So without any further delay, let's get started. Okay, so again, I'll just summarize. So we'll break it down into what do we want to do before a test, what do we want to do during a test, and what do we want to do post-test. Okay, and it is kind of important because, and this is how you sort of organize your things to do, right? Even in management organizations, you'll probably understand that this is how you want to do it. What has to be done before a test in order for you to feel that you're better than most in that particular topic. Now, many of you are in sections. One of you has actually finished the sections and you're going to move on to your full length test. First, only one person so far. Okay, but you still have 40 something days. Okay, how do you sort of feel like you're better than most in each of those sections? So when it comes to economy, I'm better than most. Okay, if it is difficult for me, I think it is difficult for everybody. What are the things that you have to do in order for you to get that kind of a feeling? Point number one. Okay, what are the things that you want to do during the test? I will take some samples on exactly what I said, right? We'll take a look at some of the questions, and some of the questions are the ones that you have recently solved, and some of you have sent it to me. Okay, how did I go about trying to solve that? Okay, and you try to see if how I'm trying to solve is slightly better than yours, or you already have a better technique that you are solving it, and because there is some sort of a minute difference, I feel. Okay, some of you, I think the best so far in all of you is that in your paper, the least number of wrongs that you've gotten is around 13 out of 100. Okay, great job. Okay, many of you are somewhere in late teens or early 20s. Okay, and a vast chunk of you who started with almost more wrongs than rights, I actually brought it to around 30, 28 to 32, 33, 34, something along this particular age. Okay, I did not attempt too many questions, okay, but I had a good advantage with me, that was strike rate. Now you try to understand how I kind of solve it so that you will probably be able to see in what to do during a test and finally post-test. And I think post-test is the most important thing, which I think a lot of us take it for granted because we feel like I have done a lot of it for the test. I have taken the test. Now my mind is like completely like, sort of switched off. Let me just try to understand how I have done and try to move on to the next sort of a challenge. Okay, but before we close anything, we want to ensure that you have to assess whether are you better than most. Okay, are you better than most? Have you gotten to that particular point? If not, what are the things that you have done well? What are the things that you still need to work on? And if you don't accrue that sort of an insight from that particular test, I think we're making a big sort of a mistake, and we are sort of letting an important sort of a insight just pass by. Okay, so let's focus on this. Okay, what do we want to do before a test? See, the first thing is, one of you has reached the full length test stage. Okay, most of you, but all of you are in the sections, right? So if you're looking at the sections, first thing is that you have to define what the syllabus is for that particular test, right? And then you have to define your syllabus. Now, what exactly do I mean by this? Now, this basically says, for instance, modern India. Okay, and again, apologies for my handwriting. Okay, but this is a very good handwriting that I've improved, my improved handwriting. Okay, define your syllabus. So when you say your syllabus, you've got to find a boundary to your syllabus. Okay, modern India is something that you can go on and on and on. Okay, if you want to be a perfectionist, there is no end to it, right? I had studied, I had studied a whole bunch of books. Okay, I had John Key was what I started with. It's a very good book, about entire history of India all the way till from Manu's time all the way till much later. Okay, modern India. Okay, I've read what is that? Bipin Chandra. I've read Spectrum, and I still remember later. And my aunts are all history teachers, and they showed me a book of a book named B.L. Grover or something like that. And I think I might have gotten the name wrong. It's something Grover. Okay, from her master's days. And I have that book, and I looked through that, and then I realized there are so many things I don't know, right? So it is very important that you define your own sort of syllabus, and this is basically the boundary for your syllabus. Okay, this is the boundary for your syllabus, meaning you're not going to do each and everything about modern India. Okay, but this thing could be either Bipin Chandra, okay, or it could be Spectrum, or anything else that you're doing, which I think most of you are sticking to these two. Okay, and then you can add a little more, a little more, as in anything that comes from your test, okay, that you did not know, you made a mistake, okay, you can learn something more. Okay, but it is very important that you define, this is what I need to know. Okay, anything that comes from Spectrum or my Bipin Chandra, I've got to know it. Okay, I have no excuse in not knowing that. Okay, I have got to know that. Okay, anything that does not come from that particular thing. Okay, if it doesn't come from my particular source, no issues at all. Okay, it is no issue at all. Okay, because most of the people are going to be doing only this, right? If somebody, it is difficult for you, it should be difficult for the others as well. Okay, you will still do better. But still, despite that, many people who've actually prepared from the same books will not have the same sort of comfort level in those same concepts and topics. Start to end, can you be good at it? Okay, now that is sort of important. Just a quick request, just ensure that you guys are on mute unless you want to ask a question. Okay, thanks. Okay, and then when you do, again, we are focusing on what to do before a particular test, right? So when you're doing your sectional, whether it is in round 1 or round 2, there are two things that you want to do. One thing is ensure to try to finish your syllabus, okay, whether it is your spectrum. For instance, Tejas, right? Tejas is working on finishing syllabus. Okay, yesterday he had finished some 70-80%, and today he's finally able to finish it. Okay, great. Now there are certain other portions that not yet finished. No. Okay, so you want to finish syllabus. So let us say 30% of your topics are still left from whichever source that you have defined for yourself. Great, go ahead and finish that. On top of that, you also want to revise portions that you have finished. Okay, just because you've done it like a month ago does not mean you will remember. Okay, are there people who remember? Of course there are people who can remember. Are there people who can remember something that they studied 6 months ago? Of course there are people who can remember that. Are there people who can remember that you studied that like 1 year ago? Of course there are people like that. Now if you are that kind of a person, it is not that rare, I understand that. If you are that kind of a person, go ahead and great. Okay, revision will be very, very quick, but you have to know for sure. Okay, you have to know for sure whether it is any particular portion in that particular book. Okay, it cannot be that array yaar ye polity mein tha, right, and that chapter I did not revise in the last week or last month or something like that. I thought I knew it, but somehow I made a mistake. That should not happen. Okay, that should not happen. So you have to ensure that so these are the targets. So before a test you want to ensure that how much ever in subsequent tests you want to ensure that you're finishing the syllabus how much ever you can, and whatever you have finished you want to ensure that you are revising that. So if it is modern history and let us say that 70% you've already finished, so 70% has to be revised. Okay, and 30% has to be finished. Okay, that is your target. Now will you be able to finish it each and every time? I don't think so. Okay, but you have to get to the point where this is your target. Okay, finishing the syllabus. Okay, what syllabus? The syllabus that you have defined for yourself, as in the boundary that you have set for yourself, and revising whatever you have to whatever you have already sort of studied before. Now especially for those from round 2, if you're coming to the same sort of a subject again, okay, after a while, you understand that it is very important for you to see where have you made the earlier sort of mistakes. Now that is a very important component, right? Because see, in personal mentorship, I'll tell you this thing, all of you are kind of different. Okay, all of you are very different. Okay, what for somebody, factual kind of questions are something that is very easy. For some of you, conceptual questions are kind of easy. Okay, for some of you, you love those let's take the same example of spectrum. You love those tribal movements, tribal rebellions, peasant movements, trade unions. Some of you, that the 1885 all the way to 1947 is something that you remember. Some of so each and every one of you will have some strength and some weakness. You have to understand where did you go wrong. Okay, and you have to ensure that it is sort of it goes into your head. Okay, it's imprinted in your brain. Okay, for the lack of a better phrase. Okay, it has to be sort of imprinted in your brain. Okay, now in case you feel I'm going to look at the book and then study it and then ensure that I've done it really well, go ahead, great. If you feel like you have to make some short notes and look at it repeatedly, go ahead, great. It really it's up to you. But the most important thing is that you do not make the same mistakes, right? If so, I'll give you an example. Okay, one of you said that 1939 to 1947 there were a bunch of questions in which you actually made mistakes in your round 1. In your assessment, in your second test, in round 2 also you said that 1939 to 1947 were where you made the mistake. So that means you have not been able to sort of undertake this activity of understanding where the mistakes are coming from and ensuring that you do that thoroughly before the next test. We do not want to make the same mistakes again, right? You do not want to be making the same mistakes again. So that is another sort of a thing that I would tell you. So that way, when you move on to round 2 or when you're doing it subsequently, you do not have to do from start to end. Okay, understand where you're good. Okay, what are you good at? Understand where you're not so great at. Okay, focus on the ones that you're not great at and ensure at least that you reasonably made some progress there, but ensure that your strengths have still remained as your strengths. Okay, as simple as that. Alrighty, guys. So that brings us to the close of our video. Thank you for watching, and we hope that you found the video to be useful. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you in the very next video.